Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
Like a fountain in my soul, I got joy. Like a fountain, I got joy. Like a fountain, I got joy. Like a fountain in my soul, I got joy. Like a fountain in my soul. We're doing it again. Okay. Like a fountain in my soul. Yeah.
Well, didn't that feel good? Yeah. Well, today, as I said at the opening, we're aware of a holiday, and we're aware of time off and plans for that, and many of us are probably in the midst of that. Really glad that you're with us to share part of your holiday weekend with us. But it is also for another purpose, isn't it? It's also a time of remembering. Call it Memorial Weekend, because what we are remembering are those who have lost their lives in service to our country. In wars in our history or wars in our current experience, people are still losing lives on the battlefield and in service to our country. And so as we remember them and the families who grieve and the families who let go of them, it is a time for us to feel that responsibility and to feel that gratitude. It's also a time for us, I believe, to hear a higher call as well in our lives. Because we honor and remember those who lost their lives in service to our country, no matter our opinions or our politics about certain wars or war in general. Today, we honor all sacrifice made in service to our greater good. Not only those who died on the battlefield in our name, wearing our country's uniform, under the banner of our flag, but also those who died from wounds and the consequences of war, even years later. Today we remember them all, for it is the same principles that called each one into service from the beginning. You see, there exists in our human consciousness a warrior archetype. This archetype is a universal idea. It's an energetic pattern. And it doesn't mean something that in us that wants to dominate or to destroy. It is, in fact, a warrior archetype that really rises in us to defend and to protect. When we're called in honor, when we're called in this experience to defend and protect our homeland or our families or what we deeply find moving within us that is deeply relatable inside of us, a principle, an idea, or an understanding, to protect our democracy. And whatever it is that calls us from the deepest place in us, it's not something we think, but something we deeply feel. This warrior archetype really looks as not a particular gender or gender expression even, but it is a quality of our character. The warrior archetype dedicates oneself to a set of principles so completely that we lose our fear for ourselves as we rise in service to others, no matter the cost. This can show up in many ways in our lives. But today we remember those who have done it in such a public way, in such a powerful way for all of us. when we rise to this, when we express this, when we give of ourselves at this level, it is the ultimate gift. And today we recognize those and feel our appreciation for those who have done so for us and given us that ultimate gift. The principles among them that are involved is a full commitment to duty, hearing a call, pledging one's very self, beyond your personal plans, beyond our own personal needs of those even around us, but something greater than us. And recognize we put it all on the line. We do so in service for the greater good. Beyond politics or opinions, we go higher. We go to some higher place of recognizing that what we do matters, that who we are can serve something far greater than the constraints of our own personal lives. We come from a place of honor, of national tradition, honor of family heritage. Those who come from a lineage of military service know that feeling, that pull, that draw. Whether you are one that answers it in your life or not, you feel it and you know what it means, how it feels. We come from a place of love. We don't necessarily think of that in a warrior archetype, perhaps, but from those people in military service, while I myself do not come from a military family, nor have I served in a military service, what I would say is that when I've interviewed or when I've talked with people who have, they tell me that it isn't so much, it's not about heroism or courage even, that really calls them into service. It's not the thing that they think they're going to go be a hero. Instead, what they talk a lot about is love. They talk about love of country or love of family. But they also, more importantly, especially those who have known military service on battlefields or at times of risk or in the lines of fire, or the potential for that, they talk about love of one another in their squad, in their platoon, on their ship. They think about knowing that the people around them are trained to love them as they love one another. The love of this one next to them, that they know, I have your back, you have mine. That kind of connection is a brotherhood, it is a partnership, it is another family. And it matters deeply to those who have served. Courage. It's not the thing that I heard people say that they felt courageous and so they enlisted or they showed up and did their part. Courage is what comes in the face of great fear. Courage is what arises that allows us to move past our own self-preservation to do that thing that must be done, even at any cost. Courage arises to meet the fear, to carry through. It carries us to give the ultimate gift of our true selves. Kim Henry writes of a time that she visited the beaches of Normandy in France. She says it like this: row upon row of white crosses stand in military precision. The stillness of 10,000 graves reverberates in my heart. She says, I made this visit to the American cemetery in Normandy, France, reluctantly, not wanting to feel the emotion of a place where so many died. Now, in this voiceless sanctuary of remembrance, I pay homage to those soldiers and all the others who've come after. Perhaps my emotion is deepened because I understand. My son and son-in-law in multiple deployments have risked their lives. I've experienced the angst and yet been blessed by their return. The parents of those who died here were not so fortunate, I know. I owe them, as well as their children, acknowledgement and honor for their gift of unshackled life. I walk in silence to where thousands of young lives were extinguished in a single day. The beach is stark, windswept, empty. It's easy to forget, yet important to remember. Being where it happened overwhelms me. I can't ignore the enormity and the immensity of the sacrifice. These people gave all. Their lives stopped or forever changed, so mine could go on. I climb steep banks and peer into scooped-out shelters. Imagine the thundering battle. Water gently licks the well-worn sand where hundreds of thousands of boots carried their owners into the unknown. The sea is calm now. I am filled with gratitude and awe. Those mentioned by Kim in this writing are those that we remember today, among others, among many others. Today, from all conflicts and wars, where ordinary people said yes to a challenge, to something greater than themselves. They gave the ultimate gift of themselves. Dr. Martin Shaw, British sociologist, said, "There's nothing ordinary about decency, courage under fire, compassion, tenacity, lion-heartedness." And that is what is being called forth in a moment, a deeply mythic moment like this. So today, in the shadow of this great sacrifice, we ponder, consider, how then shall we live the lives that we have been given? Joseph Campbell, author of The Hero with 1,000 Faces, says, "When we quit thinking primarily about ourselves and our own self-preservation, we undergo a truly heroic transformation of consciousness. A hero is someone who has given his or her life to something bigger than oneself." That's what this is. This is what happens when we answer something greater, a call of the soul, a call that is deeply embedded in us, a time that might be inconvenient, and yet everything else falls away in the necessity of standing up, of showing up, of being true, of love, of others more than self. Dedicating our lives to something more than meeting our own needs leaves a legacy of generosity and good in the world. Knowing our purpose is more than filling a job description or a career path. It is knowing what we are through the service we give, through saying yes to giving from our hearts, from putting ourselves at risk, from postponing our own plans that we may serve in the immediacy of the moment. Diane Ackerman, poet, said, "I swear I will not dishonor my soul with hatred, but offer myself humbly as a guardian of nature, as a healer of misery, as a messenger of wonder, as an architect of peace. The warrior archetype is in us and available to all of us for anything that calls us and draws us from a deeper sense of mission, from a deeper sense of necessity, of purpose, of feeling something in the world that needs to be corrected or healed or brought into alignment or filled with some great love. This is our call. This is our opportunity, for we are the bearers of the ultimate gift, looking for a place or a way to share it in a meaningful way in the world. Brian Doyle tells the story of a friend of his who does just that on a daily basis. He says, a friend of mine is a chaplain in a hospital, and as we got to talking the other day, he closed his eyes and walked in memory through the hospital corridors, pausing at each door and telling me who was in the room and why and what was said in his visit with them. First door, girl, 7 years old, no hair, already lost right leg. Wants to know if God issues new legs, if you ask very politely. Next door, man, age 60, former professional athlete, worried about some things he never quite told his wife. Will it hurt her if he tells her now? He asks. Or is it more merciful on his part to let it go as he goes? Next door, girl, age 20, used to believe in what we call God. Now she doesn't, not after 7 years of cancer. She says to the chaplain, "Can you blame me? Do you still believe after all the pain and agony and loss you've seen?" So my friend, the chaplain, opens his eyes and says, "You know, that's the daily question, isn't it? How can you believe in good when there is so much bad? Crazy to believe, isn't it? But I do. You see, the flash of holiness and greatness of spirit, and unimaginable courage and grace and tenderness sometimes. But if you're looking for proof, you're an idiot. You'll never prove God. But you see God all the time if you watch and listen. God's everywhere, in light, in music, in kindness, in living things. People get hung up trying to understand. You can't understand. Pain and loss are part of the gift somehow. I don't understand why. So what? Why should it be small enough for me to understand? But I believe it anyway. So did I see God today? All day long, my friend. All day long. L. Arnault says, "Do not be dismayed by the brokenness of the world. All things break. And all things can be mended, not with time, as they say, but with intention. So go, love intentionally, extravagantly, unconditionally. The broken world waits in darkness for the light that is you." And so today, we take the memory of those lost in conflict and war and make a commitment to live the lives that we've been given in service to the world. Because it is today, with that brokenness, with that hurt, and with that gratitude, that we pay the ultimate gratitude of service of our own lives in gratitude for the ultimate gift we have received. May you carry forward from this weekend on in your life intentionally with love and a new commitment to be a gap in the world. Fill that gap with your love and bring the ultimate gift. God bless you all.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.